Hello, welcome to Goodnight Flagstaff. I'm Jen Geyer, and I volunteer here at Goodnight Flagstaff to help get the readers the scripts they need to read before reading their chapter, and I get to read a lot of chapters myself. So thank you and if you ever want to be a reader, just reach out and let us know. We would love to have you read a chapter for us. Thank you for tuning in to our community story time. You can find a new chapter from one of our favorite family-friendly books at 8 p.m. each weeknight on the Literacy Center's YouTube channel and on Creator Radio, a local online radio station. The previous chapter is replayed on Creator Radio each weeknight at about 7:45, just before the new chapter airs. You can also listen to all previous Goodnight Flagstaff recordings on YouTube. We are currently reading Race to the Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. If you'd like to check it out to read along with us at home, it is available in the Hoopla app with your Coconino County Library card. Check one out today. Please email us if you'd like to join our team of readers and connect with your community through stories. All ages welcome. And we mean it. If you want to read a chapter, let us know. Our email is goodnightflagstaff@gmail.com. Last time we read together, Najoni argued with the sun about her friends. The sun assured her they are fine for now, so she went to pick out her new monster-slaying weapons. Which weapon would you pick if you could choose from the sun's weapons? Chapter 38. Jehonae leads us down the corridor. Mr. Yazzie and I follow, the horned toad back in his favorite riding spot right inside my hoodie. Once again, I'm struck by how many pictures of the sun cover the walls. Someone thinks he's the center of the universe, doesn't he? I murmur. No, Jehonae says, looking over his shoulder at me. Just the solar system. He smirks. I flush. They're very nice, I add quickly. Gotta say, he's not my favorite. Here we are, he says, stopping in front of a huge wooden door. It's tall enough to allow in those bear sentinels while standing on each other's shoulders. A pair of lightning bolts is carved into the center, adding to its intimidating look. I'm starting to get that feeling again, that I'm in over my head. But all of a sudden, I remember what Clejan told me. Don't worry about what you're supposed to be. Just be who you are. I can almost hear her voice saying it, and it reassures me. Jehonae pushes, and the door swings open. The three of us enter. Once, Dad took us to this museum that had an ancient weapons room. The gallery was filled with 10-foot-long spears pinned to the walls and arrowheads and knives under glass cases. I guess I was expecting something like that. Boy, was I wrong. Entering the weapons room is like stepping into a roiling ball of electricity. Light and fire seem to flash all around me, and my instinct is to cover my head and get out of the way. Lightning shoots out in a jagged line, headed straight for Mr. Yazzie. Duck! I yell, reaching for my horned toad friend. But I shouldn't have worried. The lightning strike stops short by at least a yard, and I realize the fiery mass is somehow staying in the center of the room, as if surrounded by an invisible shield. You're quite safe, Jehonae says from behind me. The lightning is contained and will not harm you. The lightning continues to flash and flare, close enough to reach out and touch. I sure hope Jehonae is right, or we're going to end up very crispy. What do you think? Jehonae asks. Very impressive, I say. But I thought there would be weapons. He sweeps a hand across the room. Is this not a weapon? I remember what the buzzard Bozo said about a true monster slayer wielding a lightning sword, so I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, I knew there would be lightning, but I guess I wasn't thinking of it as actual lightning. More like metaphorical lightning. It definitely is. I was just expecting... A gun? He sounds disappointed. No, I say hastily. Something more old-timey. Maybe a knife, some swords, a bow, an arrow in the shape of lightning? Does that even make sense? He smiles warmly now, for the first time since I got here. I control lightning, and from it I can forge any weapon of your choosing. Tell me what you and your friends require, and I will shape them for you. Awesome! Anything I want? Anything? Mac and Davy want too? My mind reels. And then it crashes back to earth. Because what are we going to do with a bunch of deadly weapons? Davy spends most of his time reading. And while I have definitely improved over my gym humiliation days, what with the super fast running and the night vision, I'm not sure either of those things are going to help me wield a weapon. Mac is the only one who seems to have a direct attack power, but unless Johanna can turn the lightning into a water sprinkler, there's nothing here for him either. Go on, Najoni, Mr. Yazzie says encouragingly. Tell him what you need. Well, I hesitate, worried I'm going to blow this. Do they have to be, like, weapons? Weapons? What do you mean? Johanna asks. It's just, Davy has never needed anything more than internet access or a book. His ancestral power seems to be extra smartness or something, so maybe he could just use a lightning book? Mr. Yazzie groans and smacks his forehead with a tiny claw, but Johanna looks thoughtful. A weapon of knowledge, he says. I like it. For what is knowledge but a weapon against ignorance? Johanna steps forward. He rolls up his sleeves and reaches into the center of the room. Lightning flashes and crackles around us, like we're inside one of those plasma balls at the Science Museum. Thunder booms in the distance as the room fills with light. It's so bright I have to shield my eyes and turn away. The flare fades, and when I look back, Johanna is holding something in his hands. A book about the size of a regular novel, but not very thick. On its gold cover are 2 lightning bolts, just like on the door to the weapons room. What does it do? I ask. It contains the secrets to defeating your enemies, says Johanna. When the right person reads from it, it shall tell them everything they need to know to beat the monsters. Not to be rude, but if the holy people already know how to defeat the monsters, why don't they do it themselves? How dare you! Johanna erupts, his voice echoing through the chamber. It's just a question, I insist, ignoring his bluster. The monsters threaten humans, Mr. Yazzie explains. They don't bother the holy people. While they may provide some assistance, it's up to the humans to fight their own battles. Johanna nods, his face still dark. Okay, I get it now, I murmur. Sorry I offended you. In a sign that he accepts my apology, he hands me the golden book, and I slide it into my backpack. A book of lightning is all well and good, but shouldn't our heroes also have something sharp and pointy? Mr. Yazzie asks the son. Not that I don't trust your judgment, he adds hastily. It's never been done quite like this. Each monster slayer will have the weapon most appropriate for them, Johanna chides. You know this. He looks back to me. Though forged in the fire, each weapon is simply a part of the bearer, made solid in the glittering world. Now for your brother. Well, his ancestral powers have something to do with water. Ah, yes. He is related to Born for Water. I remember now. I have just the thing. Johanna reaches back into the tumult of white fire, and again I have to shut my eyes at the flare of bright light. When I open them, Johanna has a small bottle in his hand. It's attached to a loop of leather cord, just like the one my piece of turquoise used to hang from. What is it? Liquid lightning, he explains, for the boy who can control things in a fluid state. But he must be careful. It is very unstable and can only be used once. Whoa, he's going to love this! He hands Mac's weapon to me, and I carefully put it in the padded pocket of my backpack. Mr. Yazzie makes an unhappy noise behind me. What's wrong? I ask. I don't mean to complain, but how can I be a weapons master if I don't even recognize the weapon, he huffs. Books? Liquid lightning? Bah! Maybe I'm getting too old for this after all. We all must change with the times, Johanna says, not unkindly. These children are different from their ancestors. Just as the trials change to fit Najoni's imagination, so must the weapons adapt. The ways of the DNA are not static, but alive and ever-changing. Mr. Yazzie sighs, but it's a satisfied sound, like he understands. The son regards me with expectant eyes. And for you, Najoni? I took an archery class at summer camp once, I say, in a rush. remembering the weight of the bow, the feeling of the taut string close to my cheek, the whip of the arrow as I loosed it at the target. And I was good at it. I hit a bullseye that day. My instructor called it a beginner's luck, and maybe it was, or maybe I was a natural and the teacher didn't recognize it. I believed her because she was an adult, and I thought she knew better, but now I'm not so sure. And there's something else I add. When I saw my mom in the vision, she had a crossbow, so I'd like to try a bow and arrow. Johanna studies me for a moment before nodding. I think a more traditional weapon would suit you. A pointy one, as your weapons master called it. Yes, it should suit very well indeed. He does the whole hand in the fire, blazing light thing again, and this time he pulls out a glowing bow and a quiver full of arrows. Well, thank goodness, Mr. Yazzie says. Finally, a weapon I know. The bow and arrows are beautiful, made of a fine golden wood that seems to pulse with shadow and flame. The bow is just my size, not too big, and there are 4 perfectly formed arrows in the long, thin quiver, which has a strap for wearing on your back. He hands them to me. Carry these proudly, Monster Slayer. You have earned them. A feeling of deep satisfaction fills me, as if the fire from the lightning forge is flowing through my veins. But it's more than just the weapons. It's knowing for a fact that this is my destiny. They're beautiful, I whisper. Thank you. Ahihe. I sling my backpack onto one shoulder and pull the quiver over the other. Not a perfect solution, but it will have to do. And now we must go, Mr. Yazzie says, before we lose any more time. You two go ahead, Johanna says. There is one more weapon I must forge before sunrise. I will join you when I am done. I want to ask who the other weapon is for, but Mr. Yazzie is already pushing at my ankles, trying to hurry me out of the room. I pull the big wooden door open, and Mr. Yazzie and I spill back out into the hallway. Can we get Mac and Davy from the Lost and Found now? I ask. I can't wait to show them the weapons Johanna made especially for us. I suppose so, if we don't dally, Mr. Yazzie says. Which is the door to the Lost and Found department again? I groan at his forgetfulness as we rush down the hall, past a row of similar doors, each marked with a different symbol. A geometric basket on a red, white, and black door. A sand painting figure in browns and tans on a door that looks like solid turquoise. But nothing that says Lost and Found. When we are almost at the end of the hallway, I ask, did we miss it? No, I'm sure it's here somewhere. The last door on the right is bigger than the rest, with a drawing of a sheep on it. It looks just like the sheep Davy made for Ancestor Club, except sadder. Like maybe the little guy got separated from his flock. Like maybe he's lost? This is it! I push on the door, flinging it wide open. But I don't see Mac and Davy. Instead, I see her. My mom. Thank you for tuning in. Join us next time for Chapter 39 of Race to the Sun. Good night, Flagstaff.